DragCast episode 186. We are talking today to our friend Mr. Charlie Barnett from the amazing show Russian Doll on Netflix and so many others like Chicago Fire and all the other things right here today on DragCast with Nina West. Hey all, welcome to another episode of DragCast with Nina West. This is Andrew here. Here's another special quarantine edition. As you listen to this episode, I hope you're all finding yourselves well and happy. I know that this is April 21st, 2020. This episode you're about to listen to was recorded on March 29th, 2020. We're so grateful for you all listening. Thank you for supporting DragCast and giving us a listen and celebrating during these really scary times. Take care of yourselves and enjoy our friend Charlie Barnett. Welcome back to DragCast. Patricia and I are really excited for today's episode as we have one of our favorites joining us today. You might know this actor as Alan on Netflix Russian Doll with Natasha Leone, or as Peter Mills in the NBC hit drama Chicago Fire. He's appeared in films like Men in Black 3 with Will Smith and Josh Brolin, Gaby, The Happy Sad, and Private Romeo, a modern take on Romeo and Juliet. He can also be seen in the upcoming comedy The Stand-In, starring Drew Barrymore. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at @_Charlie Barnett. DragCast is thrilled to welcome Charlie Barnett. Hi, Charlie.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just chilling on my bed, enjoying it, sitting with my cat. It's a new and interesting way to do what we do.
Yeah, isn't it though?
How are you doing with all of this staying inside?
You know, I have to admit I am in a position of comfort, and I have no complaints. And most of my fears and concerns extend for family members, loved ones, like the single mom and single dad who has 4 kids and they can't go to school and they can't get into work, so they can't pay rent. It's like my neighbors and a lot of those people. I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to have worked this year and have savings. So I'm in a position of not having to worry. So I'm enjoying a certain sense of it, but it's that rear of truth and of life kind of comes back up, and you're reminded of what's really going on, and it's scary, and you just hope that everybody is handling it in the safest and best ways possible for themselves.
I was gonna say, I was wanting to know what you were doing to occupy your time during this period. How long have you been quarantined?
So I was working on a musical with a couple of friends, and I had also left to Chicago to go film a new pilot called wow, why am I blanking? It's only been a week. It's called Ordinary Joe. It's slated to be on NBC. It's ABC and Fox's production as well. But we had gone and done maybe a week of like just pre-production stuff, getting kind of like network notes, getting photos done, like what you prepare to do when you're doing a new show. And we filmed one day. I asked our producers, because I had the weekend off, if I could come home to work on the musical. And everything kind of spun. So I've been still like shutting down the musical and trying to work on the show and figure out what's going on. Everything kind of just shut down. So at the moment, like I finally gotten a little bit of like free time to step back, and I've been playing video games to keep occupied.
That's good. What video games are you playing?
I downloaded Zelda again on my Switch, and I'm just going through it all. Taking out some orcs, I've been watching The Crown. I didn't get to see the Olivia Colman version of The Crown, so I'm now sitting down with my partner to watch all of it, and it's just they're so freaking amazing, and it's like a show that has a lot of dynamics, I guess, and levels. Even though it's about all these people in a situation which I could never relate to, so much of the life I do relate to, so much of their existence and their problems and their, the humanity of it all is like so poignant. And what else? I've been crafting just because why not?
What are you crafting, though, Charlie? What are you crafting?
I'm a little bit of I guess I can admit it here. I'm a little bit of a pothead crafter. So
Good.
it is just random shit. Whatever, I have not made any masks yet, but I feel like that should be my next go-to for sure.
Like wall masks, like wall art masks, like
No,
like
no, no,
that,
no,
like
no,
or
literally
like
like mask.
wrestling masks.
I wish it was so joyful. No, like coronavirus masks, like
Oh.
knitting some like non-actually applicable like freaking mask to wear over my face and hopefully protect some of the germs from other people.
I
Uh,
didn't know. I just went a completely different direction.
I do love it. Yeah, that's the thing is like I keep like going outside and being like, oh my god, it's beautiful out. It's so quiet. It's so nice. And then I'm like, oh, that's the reason why.
It's
It's
a
like,
pandemic.
yeah. It's like, oh yeah, fuck, god,
Well,
yeah.
well, first we hope that you and Drew are taking care of yourselves.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, and the same as well, of course. For both of
oh,
you.
thank you,
Thank you.
Yeah.
thanks. But we want to get down to it. We want to talk to you about all of this exciting stuff that's going on in your life that makes us all so excited to binge on shows just like you're doing, like Russian Doll.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, did you always love acting? Did you always love this idea of getting to be like somebody else and get in their skin
You
and
know what?
figure
If I'm
that
gonna be
out?
fully honest, like, no, I have a challenging relationship with it. It is because it's not just acting. There's a business component that comes into this, and there is, there's so much of your life that you have to kind of. I don't want to say sacrifice because a lot of the sacrifices are great. Some of the sacrifices are so damn difficult. But there's challenges that it puts kind of in the way. If you're a working actor or a non-working actor, trust me, on both ends, I've seen all.
Mhm.
Um, I can tell you that I do love, and what attracted me to this world is people. I love how people work. I love the puzzle piece effect of life. I love that something can happen to you. I was taking a shower this morning and thinking about this, and just thinking about this question kind of coming up because I figured it would. Um, I I had a therapist who she's one of my first therapists I'm a strong believer in therapy.
Me
If you
too. Me
if you
too.
can get it, knock on wood, everyone should be allowed, or at least have the opportunity. Um, she told me that look, you were adopted at birth, and for a lot of people who are adopted, and I think you included, you've because of that situation, you now have abandonment issues. And for years, I fought her on it and just would not accept it because I was like, that's like a cop out. And like, how can you just say that it's like this equals this equals this? That's BS. That's not how life works. There's so many other components within it. And as I got older and older and older, I realized she was so damn right. and and in the same sense, I was too. That's really what draws me to acting and draws me to what this art form is, and kind of the storytelling effect of it is that it's like these little parts of ourselves come together to create this person, and you have all these effects, but they also become like a map for you, for other people to kind of understand themselves, do it better, handle situations that are difficult easier. I love that kind of what how do I even put it? That kind of murder mystery effect. It's like a murder mystery game, or like a Clue, the Clue board game, or
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to figure out the pieces and you unravel a puzzle.
exactly. And each piece tells you something so different and can affect a thought so pivotally.
So, Patricia, I know you have a question, so I'll let you
Go
jump
for it,
in.
go for
Sorry.
That's all right. We're adjusting
It's
to
weird. It's
the way.
weird. Yeah, it's weird because we're in different places. So
I
it's trying to
know.
feel like the energy of. I know she's got a question.
Well,
Hit me,
I'm just
Patricia.
curious because you mentioned that you have a love-hate relationship with acting. You didn't always want to do it. What I know you started pretty young.
Mhm.
How did you I guess how did you decide to go on this path, and what other options did you consider?
Well, I should probably clarify. I have always wanted to do it as much as I have a love-hate relationship with it. I go through
Hmm.
like bouts. I think like all of us do with any kind of passion, any passion that you have, like family members, lovers, like we go in and out, up and down. Um,
Hmm.
I have always wanted to do it though, maybe from a place of knowing that I've done it for so long and I was kind of good at it. In the
Hmm.
beginning, I was like, "Wow, I'm actually maybe good at this." My sister and my family are unbelievable sailors. My dad is a boat builder. My sister was like a champion sailor from 5 years old. She was just schooling me, and I got so damn jealous and frustrated with myself that I couldn't get better, that I quit one day. I jumped out of a boat in the middle of a race and swam to shore. I told my mom that
Yeah,
I was never doing it again. I'm sorry.
did
What
you
was-
did you grow up on a boat?
I did. I did. I grew up on a boat for until I was about like 7 or 8. I think we moved on to it too. Like we were back and forth, staying at like apartments and then onto the boat until we were about 4, and then from 4 to 7 or 8, we were on the boat all the time, traveling around, doing our
That's
thing,
crazy.
being a
What were
weird
those
old
lessons
hippie
like?
thing.
That's
Oh
but that's
God!
incredible. I mean, you had a life that most kids didn't have, right? So, can you
Funnily
think of
enough,
anything?
in in Florida, honestly, it's not that it's that common, but there are a lot of people that live on boats down in Florida. It's Florida. It's a weird, amazing state, but it is certainly strange. We can say that. Uh, but
I
just, I'm sorry, Patricia.
No, I was going to ask you if, living on the boat prepared you for this time period of staying at home at all.
Quite possibly. I hadn't actually thought about that, but even my sister, my parents they've been doing real well being in the kind of quarantine sequester situation, and maybe it's because of our boat life. I have to say, like by the time we were 8, I was 8, my sister was 9, like it was starting to get like, I popped up. My sister's still kind of tiny, but it was starting to be like, this ain't gonna work, y'all. Like I'm gonna have to go move on to the dinghy or something. Like,
Yeah, imagine.
yeah. I have to say, going back though, Patricia, to your question, like I jumped off of that boat, and my mom, I remember, met me on shore, and she was like, "So what the heck? You're gonna need to do something. Like I have to work," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And she brought me to opera. We had like a big opera theater, and we still have like a huge opera presence down in Sarasota, Florida, where I grew up. And I started doing opera training, and from that, I started getting into musical theater, and from there, theater. And I knew I was a shit actor. I could sing a little bit, and I could dance, but I couldn't act. So I knew that was my next goal. And honestly, I love musical theater. It is my heart and my soul, and that kind of performance element is what drew me in, and it's always kind of what keeps me around. It's what, whenever I go to the fringes of being like, I hate this job, I hate what I do, I I can kind of find myself back in through musical theater. But as an actor, it has been the most it's been the most fulfilling, and even with the ups and downs, it's been the most fulfilling, and just I can't ask for more from this career and these opportunities, and that's why I do continue to do it, because ultimately I love it. I love hating aside, but
Yeah, when I was a kid, I think the first thing that I saw that kind of drew me into this world of show business was a musical.
yeah.
Do you remember what it was? Was there something you saw, or was there a show that you saw, or a music that you heard?
God, there's so many. First and foremost, I PeeWee Herman grew up in my town as well.
Wait, wait, Paul Rubens grew up in your town?
Paul Rubens grew up in Sarasota. Yeah, um,
What?
yeah, he was our claim to fame for quite a long time. I mean, it still is. He's a lot more famous than my ass. So, it's truth. He called me. He called me the day because he's friends with Natasha out of the blue, and I was like, floored. I could freaking believe it. But
What? Wait, so wait, hold on, wait.
Yeah,
No,
what a question.
you're not skipping over that story. What did he say to you
shit.
on the phone?
Oh man, I should hold myself back from going into details. You know me on a private situation. Man, I will give you all the details. But we talked about Florida. We talked about he went to school during segregation, so we talked a lot about that and talked about our race. We have a really difficult, in my opinion, and in his opinion, a a a, a race issue within my community.
There's a race issue. There's a race issue within the country.
Oh God! Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's like,
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not relegated strictly to Sarasota. This is
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
so.
I as much as I love my community, there's just still so many issues, and it's almost like in a Get Out kind of sense. It's this like turned blind eye kind of effect, and it's so goddamn frustrating. But we talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about him getting arrested in Sarasota and how the difference of that situation would be or could be nowadays, and how interesting that is. We talked about his career, talked about my career. I talked a lot about Blow because I just fucking love him in that movie. It's just amazing. But aside from that, there's a picture of him in the Players Theater, which is the theater that I did musical theater in as a child, grown up. And that was my first. I remember just looking at that photo
Yeah.
all the time, being like, "How the hell did that guy get from that?" I think there was a picture of him in like Anything Goes, or like some old quintessential musical, and I just couldn't get past in my 7-year-old brain, like, how do you become that person, that PeeWee Herman person? And because he looked so shy and innocent and small, and it just blew me away in a kind of in a character effect level.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was drawn to it immediately, and it's immediately what kind of got me into like performance and the change of people, how this element of like you can get on a stage and be a whole and different person and no one will judge you for it. So from that though, we went to go see, God, I think it was Ragtime was my first big
Oh,
musical.
that's a good
I
one.
love
Yeah.
that show.
Good foray.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and honestly, props to my amazing white adopted parents, because they were they were both just trying to bring my sister and I into the world. I was like, good way to start. I'll take Ragtime. I like it.
I mean,
And,
that's yeah. I mean, yeah.
Les Mis was the next, and then Miss Saigon. Miss Saigon was the first one I saw on Broadway up in New York, and that changed my life.
So when you sit in the audience, I don't know if there was that moment for you, but was there that for me there was a moment of I know I want to be up there. Did you have that kind of click? Was it like I see where I think I fit in?
Huh? At
Did
that
you like?
age.
Did you want to be like a dancing cat, or building a barricade, or crashing a helicopter?
Strangely enough, yeah, right. Cats was never on my radar. I was like, I am not going to do that. Animal.
That's the
All
first
right.
one I saw.
Ah, I love it. I just watched the movie recently, and I had another experience. I think no one should go through unless they are high as a kite. But
That's what I've
what
heard.
a what a joy. Gosh, no, I don't know if this is a credit to my parents, but like I never had that feeling of like I can't do that. And maybe it's just also the accessibility that theater had within my community. Sarasota, Florida is if anything so good on investing the arts into the youth, into the community at large, into their entire existence. So performance and theater, any kind of art form that I wanted to kind of participate in was always kind of just available. I guess because I had started at opera too, I figured, oh, I can do musical theater because I know how to sing. I can figure this out. Um, and also, I was literally like 6 or 7 years old. The first show that I did was Oliver, and I remember I got called in by the director because she wanted to have a black, if not mixed race, Oliver. And so that's I did Oliver as my like first show playing Oliver. So it kind of like set me up in this world of like, I could do this. I played a British fucking orphan. I can figure this shit out.
Yes, you started as the lead. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
do you have
take that.
like memories of that time of like just really roles that you weren't excited to play, or just
Uh,
like what's the worst roles that you had?
oh God. Uh, the first one that I was terrified from, I was working with a guy named Nate Jacobs who runs the West Coast Black Theater Troupe in Sarasota, Florida, and we were doing Brer Rabbit, and I
Oh
remember
gosh.
we were like 6 years old, and Nate's such an unbelievable director. He still is today. He does incredible work. So if anybody has a chance to get down to Sarasota, Florida, please go check out some West Coast Black Theater Troupe stuff. But he cast me as the tiger. I can't remember his name, but it's some, like some, not cowardly tiger. It's like, some like maniacal tiger or some BS like that shit.
Maniacal tiger,
And I was
maniacal
like,
tiger.
wait, hold up, sir. This is the villain. You want me to play the villain? I can't be playing no villain. No. That is not a good human being. And I want to play good people in my life. I went home. I mean, I cried. I cried for like 2 days. I remember telling my mom, I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. He wants me to play this bad guy. Like, what the heck is up with that? And my mom, I remember so vividly, my mom sat me down and she's like, Charlie. She's like, the bad guys are the best parts. And I kind of paused. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, they always do the funnest things. They're always like evil and twisted and kind of like, layered. So you get to do a lot of different stuff. And, usually you walk away being a kind of a badass. you know,
Aw.
truth be told, this is like around the time of what, like, uh, I'm trying to think of some like Bruce Willis, like some like evil like Russian, villain that's being utilized. But villains still to this day are some of my favorite characters. From that, I remember just being like, no, there is no bad character. Every character, no matter, even if you're playing a murderer, you as the actor have to. This is always like a difficult thing for me, but you have to find a way of not understanding, maybe not, hopefully not relating. Jesus, but at the very least, at the very least, gosh, having compassion, or at least like developing a map of how a person can get to this point,
Yeah.
and and not necessarily. I hate to say this, but sort of respecting it, sort of taking a step back and being like, this is not me, this is not my responsibility, but I have to portray this in the best ways so that we can learn from it. Even if I am playing the worst, most maniacal, terrifying, horrible person ever, there's a justice that is deserved. And even if it is not to, fulfill Charles Manson's fucking bullshit wishes, but it is for the people who he killed, it is to
Mhm.
give some right to their experience, and people knowing more about them and knowing more about the evil person that did it to them.
So, if you were to say in this period of your life, and say you didn't go on to do all of these incredible projects, to have all these amazing projects in the works, starting an opera and musical theater, would there be a role or a show that you'd be like, oh, this is what I would be doing right now if it wasn't Russian Doll or Ordinary Joe or the musical that you're currently working on? Like,
Well,
I mean, you're very busy.
let me say I'm not very busy. No one's very busy with the
No one's busy right now.
no. I have no idea what's happening with Ordinary Joe. I hope that it goes on because it's an incredible show and had just a brilliant cast, but and brilliant crew. I really hope that everybody has the opportunity to return back. The musical, I know, look, we can hopefully, knock on wood, pick that up at any point too. But all of those things I am not currently working on. I'm working on Zelda.
I heard there's a legend about Zelda. I heard
There's
about
a legend about Zelda. I don't know if you've been, but yes, you should go.
it.
If I was gonna do opera, I can tell you right now, maybe this is just the drag of it all right now, but I would want to play I'd want to play the lady parts, not to take any roles away from women, because legit one of the only, I guess, artistic fronts that women had incredible roles on. It's still incredible roles. Most of them die at the end still, because that's just how fucked we are.
Opera works.
Women in just our society in general.
Oh.
But
Oh, yeah.
I would want to play I would want to be Tosca. I would want to be Carmen. I'd want to be the lady roles, because they are ferocious. The men just kind of come in there and fuck shit up every time, which ain't too uncommon.
Well, that's a good segue then. Have you ever done drag?
No, God, no. I wouldn't want to do I feel like it'd be a disservice. It's like I respect it too much. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. Okay, here's the truth. Yes, I have had drunk moments with friends, like throwing on a wig and a fucking a dark rouge and going out.
a dark rouge.
No. I cannot say that I've done it justice. No.
Wait, so you've like, for fun, you've done it. Did you have a drag name at the time when you've done it?
God, going back, I had a friend who was she was like applying for a Veda makeup school, and is that what it is, a Veda? Yeah.
Yeah.
In order, I guess, to get in, this is in 90. No, this is I've seen like 2000, 2004 or something like that. But she had to make a video of doing someone's makeup, and she was like, I really want to do yours. And I was like, let's do it, baby. She sat me down. This is when I was on the football team too. I mean, this is like, in the beginning of, freshman year shit. But she sits me down, she does my makeup, and she proclaimed me Sheena Marie.
I'm sorry, Sheena Marie?
Sheena Marie. She gave me a last name. I cannot remember it. It was horrifyingly bad.
Like Sheena Marie Smith.
Yeah, some just basic, basic bitch. It fit the makeup, it fit. I think if I was gonna go again, I would try and boom it up. But no, sir, legit. Like, I respect the art too much now, and I think that there's too many people trying to do it that I'm like, no. If I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be on professional basis. Like, I'm not gonna this is like church for me, okay?
What about drag?
Do you remember?
You're interested in what draws you to drag? I mean, why do you like it?
I think it spins back around to the performance element, the musical theater effect of it. I say this about cooking a lot. I love to cook, and I would never, ever, ever want to own a restaurant, knock on wood, because I probably will at some point. But I don't want to own a restaurant because I don't want to ruin my love, my joy. It's the same with acting. Like, the business side of it, as much as I respect it and honor it and really do appreciate it, I don't want to get it twisted. It's still it's one of the most challenging parts for me. I get really frustrated by it. I get frustrated by the social media elements, the selling yourself, the pitch, the politics, and owning a business like a restaurant would do that, and specifically for cooking. Drag, to me, as much as, look, beyond being a business, it is now like it is now a whole conglomerate. It is like it is everything in this world, and I'm really thankful and so appreciative to see it. But I still want it to be my own special kind of like fun art form. I have fun dancing around my house with a towel. That's like baby drag. You know what I mean? Like,
that is baby drag.
Yeah, like sitting in my shower butt naked singing. That's drag to me. Like,
okay, so wait, now what do you sing in your shower? I just gotta ask these right away. What do you sing in your shower?
What was I singing today? Today I was singing the Dua Lipa Physical song.
Dua Lipa.
Yeah, Dua Lipa. Sorry, girl. I don't know your name.
Don't worry, she doesn't listen to this. You're good.
One day she will. She'll remember. Um, I was doing some Kim Petraeus. I'm gonna fuck everybody's names up. Kim Petraeus.
Petrus.
After, and then I was singing Blackbird from the Beatles. You know, that's all.
Oh yeah, Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Yeah. Look at you. You have a great voice. I already knew that. What am I talking
You
about?
have a great voice. You're the one who's singing opera and musical theater. But
Well,
we got
I'm a smoker now, so the voice has turned a little Sinatra for me. But you know,
still epic. Still epic. And you always have the option to lip sync.
yes.
Now you also have a drag connection with Shea Coulee, right? Tell us how you know Shea.
I do. You know, funnily enough, we started watching. What is it? Season 8 or season 6, season 7? The one with Kim Chi as well. And Kim Chi I actually met before I met Shay. Strangely enough, but I know
Really?
Shay much better. Yeah, because they're both Chicago queens.
Yeah.
My partner, I think, was dating their roommate or something. There's some history there. So I kind of fell into the fold by way of that. Um, and just being in the Chicago world, if you go out to drag, you remember talent, and you remember people that stick, and there's a lot of them in that city.
It's a
Um,
ton.
so yeah, Shay specifically, Kimchi like drew me in immediately as a person in general, but Shay as a full force was just like
Mhm.
fucking power, 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 power.
Yeah.
I love Jaren to death. I mean, we just went to a friend's wedding down in Mexico and had a really, really great time. I cannot speak more highly of Shay's character and just performance as well, or just
He's
talent, I should say.
amazing person.
Yeah,
Which
good.
is
I'm
so
glad
crazy.
that carries over because you never know. Like you have a friend and then they pop off, and it's like, ooh, you better not become one of them. You better
No,
hold.
we all have that tendency, right? I mean,
Ah,
like there's
yeah.
a moment like we can all be pushed to that point where it's like, but Shay to me has been. I just got off a tour with Shay. We over the holidays we did a Christmas tour together, and
Oh yeah,
she
yeah.
was
He was
so
telling me. Yeah,
grounding. She
yeah,
was so just I think like consistently kind and
yeah.
always wonderful. And that was refreshing. You know, when you're on a tour with a bunch of drag queens, you can
Oh,
be it can be tough, man. There is there is definitely a level of energy and ego that you have to kind of
yeah.
maintain when you're
You
on a
know,
tour with like
I have to
the
say,
girls.
I knew Jaren. I knew them before they were. I guess I knew them before I knew them as their drag persona. I knew them before
Mhm.
Shay, and just as a person, if anyone ever has the opportunity, like just give yourself a chance to meet them because they are unbelievable, just unbelievable.
Now leaving the conversation of drag and
hmm
going into like you and your career.
I thought you meant the
You
show. You. I was like,
well, hello. Let's go there. Let's start there first. You said it. Let's go to you. I mean, you've had seriously all these incredible experiences, especially in these last about 8 years. It's just your career's just gone really through the roof. What do you think was there a pivotal moment that changed that for you? Do you think there was how I mean what got you here? Okay, what got you here? Everyone's gonna want to know. Like everyone wants to know. Like here you are in Russian Doll and
I
a
mean,
show that people are obsessed with.
I
So how'd you get here?
I might be one of those people who's just a little too hippy dippy and juju lovey dovey bullshit, but I truly believe that like every step every step got me to where I am. Every experience, mainly the people that I've like surrounded myself, or not even surrounded myself, because sometimes you don't pick them, they just come. The people that I've had the opportunity to come in my life, help me, aid me, like everybody's career is not done without a group of support from loved ones, from family, from friends, whatever it be. I think that's like one of the major reasons why I'm here and why I'm still able to push forward. Um, I think it's so vitally important, and people don't often, you take it for granted. You just don't often like step back to see how much your community has helped to lift you, and through stupid stuff as small as like somebody buying me lunch in high school, and I remembered it, and it got me a chance to sit down and pick their brain. My dad driving me to rehearsals, someone telling me not to be an asshole when I made a stupid joke in a theater performance. You know what I mean? There's just things like that that are all lessons that help you learn how to be a better version of you, and a harder worker and more challenging to yourself and to the people around you, of course, but to take more risks as well. Career wise, look, I would be remiss if I didn't say my high school teacher was a hugely. I had two teachers actually three teachers, Jackie Labaro, Candace Artem, and Scott Keys, who if I hadn't had them, I wouldn't be anywhere in my life. That leading to Juilliard. Juilliard was such a pivotal. God, I keep saying that word, pivotal. I must be pivotal.
It's a word now.
Yeah, pivotal.
Moment.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. It was a pivotal moment, a life-changing moment. I had a teacher there, Becky Guy, who I will forever be thankful to. And then graduating, I mean, I met my managers and my agent, and they were unbelievable guides and push. And I won't lie, what agency you're with definitely opens doors, and that's important. That's the business side of shit that I hate to admit, but you have to focus in on. And after that, Chicago Fire gave me a leap. Chicago Fire put me in a position that I couldn't have these opportunities without. But it definitely also put me in a position that I had to get out of, procedural kind of television, or that world. I'm so thankful and appreciative to it. I watch it. I have nothing but respect for it. And I hate when people kind of downplay it or push it off. I think, you can only demand more from anything. So if you feel like something is lacking, like push it further. And procedural television, there's a lot of it that's great out there that can do that. And so many people do get so much from it. So why would anybody devalue it? But from it, I have to say, it also kind of put me in a box. It put me in a place where I wasn't getting seen by the Natasha Leones, by the HBOs, by the Netflixes. I had to show that I could, I don't know, risk a little more. And I I want to say that Just Russian Doll was that for me, but honestly, I've told this story so many times, so Samira can't get mad at me for saying this shit. But I held Samira Wiley's bachelorette party in Miami, and I think that was a career changing moment for me. I met all the women from Russian Doll, and from it, I'm sorry, I met all the women from Orange is the New Black, and from it, I met Natasha. And at this point, I was still drinking in my life. Natasha has been sober for a long time, so she sat patiently and listened to me go on drunkenly about my life, kind of like I'm doing now, except that I'm not drunk. Just one of those things. She listened to me. She cried with me. She heard me out. And a month later, she called me and asked me to audition for this weird show called Russian Doll that she was working on. And I auditioned, and my life changed. And I think right now in my moment, maybe because it's so recent and because it was, it wasn't only, it was, don't get me wrong, Russian Doll was a freaking challenge, but it wasn't only something that was, I obviously can see the result of in a career way. I, as a person and as an artist, felt proud, really, really proud of it afterwards. That being said, I should not even admit this, but this is full truth. I still haven't watched it. I've watched the first 4 episodes, and I turn it off right when it gets to the end because I just can't do it. And I don't know why. I feel like it's such a cop out BS, like actor bull. Like, come on, just watch yourself. Like you need to, because you need to also like learn from it.
It's hard
And
to watch yourself.
Yeah,
I agree with
good.
you. It's hard.
it's at this point where it's like, come on, man up, bro. Like, I'm like, I'm not like psychologically, I'm like over it. I understand that, like, yeah, it might be a little difficult, but like, you need to get through it. It's not going to kill you, and like, and even if it does, like, I, even if it kills you, it won't kill you. Even if it's difficult, though, it's like you'll learn from that, and that's human experience. That's what you do. Like, you need to do this.
I think you'll be even more proud once you watch it. I binged it in like 2 days when it came out. It's
What?
just so compelling. I love, and
Thank you.
you're great in it. That it's when you said you watched like the first 4 episodes, and I think like that 4th episode is the one where we're so focused on you and your character. Like the
Yeah, yeah.
first
So I think it's the first. Yeah, it's right after the elevator episode where I kind of see my life.
kind of find out all about Alan then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because so when you meet all of these girls at Samira Wiley's bachelorette party in Florida, had you already shot the episode of Orange Is the New Black? Because that's how that's where I really distinctly remember seeing you for the first time to
Oh
when I
wow,
can remember. Is the
that's so
episode
fun.
the prison episode, right? Where
Yeah, yeah, with
it's
Pip, yeah,
it's
Piscatella.
such a good, it's such a unique, interesting story twist that I wasn't expecting. And
Oh, hey, hats off to the the ladies in the writing room because I was really glad that they took that spin in that show. You
but
know,
had you known all those women before this, or had you shot that
no, God
episode?
no. So no, I met most of them. Some of the producers. Not everybody was there. No shade to all the other producers listening.
Total shade.
So, I
Some
mean, look,
did.
I was the one sending out invitations, so send your shade to me. Don't send it to Samira. Let's be real. Uh, uh, I met a couple of them there. I had not done Orange Is the New Black prior to that though. Um, God, I guess I met Tara Herman there for the first time. But get this twisted shit. Tara Herman is married to a guy named Christopher Herman. And Christopher Herman was best friends with my creator of Chicago Fire, in which David Eigenberg, this is like 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, sorry, but in which David Eigenberg, who plays Steve on Sex and the City, is also on Chicago Fire, plays Chris Herman, who is the best friend of the creator of Chicago Fire and also married to the producer of Orange is the New Black. She's also a producer of Glow and a couple other incredible Genji shows. But I had already known him, strangely enough, from working on Chicago Fire. So our paths kind of crossed. And she called me in later after The Bachelorette, though, for Orange is the New Black to audition for that role. Um, yeah, it's, so it's kind of like yes and no. That Bachelorette party for anything was mainly I got to dance with Salinas, whom I think is one of the most incredible actresses in our generation in our world. I got to go to a strip club with them. That was unbelievably epic. And also, Natasha and I had that come to Jesus, I guess you could say.
Sounds like
And I
fun.
also got to celebrate Samira. Don't forget. But no, I had also been friends with Lauren, Samira's wife, who's also, I believe she was like a showrunner for Orange for a bit of a time, and has now gone on to do many things. Tales of the City, which I worked on as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like now you're like all over Netflix. Like you can be streamed every day of the week with like Y'all and you and Tales of the City. I did want to ask you about Tales of the City, and I know you're appearing in some upcoming episodes of the of Special.
yeah. So
Um,
excited about that one. Yeah.
so that like
Oh, that's
and kind of harkening back to the episode you and Nina were talking about on Orange Is the New Black. These are like LGBTQ themed shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, is that an important factor in deciding to do them, or is it just a great part that you want to go after? Does it have more meaning for you?
Look, ultimately, yes, of course, because it personally is, part of my life. I cannot tell you. I mean, look, anyone who is queer, I mean, I shouldn't say this because this was my experience, but I think most people who were queer who were born before 2000 that is no shade to the younger generations who are doing unbelievable things to advance this community and queer community as a whole. um or I should say LGBTQ plus community, not just queer. I feel like I need to encompass everyone. um but yes, it's important to me because it's important to me as much as like playing African American or Black roles that have substance are important to me, just as much as playing masculine or male roles that, even if I am playing a evil demoniacal person, that it has depth, that it has truth, that it has justice behind it. um so as much as it is yes, it's also a no. It is just, they are just parts to me, they're just roles, and I give them as much thought and respect as I would a straight character or any other character that I was playing, an asexual. um for me though, personally, and as I was saying to like anyone in the community, I don't think that, I know a lot of people who didn't go through a point of struggle, and there's the coming out kind of process, but along with that there is this, I am now a part of a community, so I also have a bit of responsibility, um
Mhm.
which is important. And no matter where you fall in, fame or wealth or all that kind of BS that ultimately means something but ultimately doesn't mean anything. um
Mhm.
whatever your stature, whatever your class, we all have a responsibility kind of towards that, and I think we all feel that, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. With it though comes fear, if you're doing it right, and if you can hold it, and if you can speak for enough people, and if you should even be allowed to speak for anyone. um I,
Yeah.
where am I going with this? I ultimately it's yeah, right. Ultimately, yeah, it's so important to me, but I kind of try to do, I try to keep it open. I play a lot of straight characters too. um Neither is any more challenging or less challenging. Honestly, I've played gay characters that are difficult as all hell, and I've played straight characters that are difficult as all hell. It's more about the person and their experience, and I truly believe that. um but I can say I am, with all this baggage, I can say that I'm like honored that I get to have the opportunity to. um yeah.
Attention,
To-
your battery is running low. Please plug in the power adapter now.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
I have. You better charge in your plug-in adapter, honey.
I'm putting it in.
Or
I'm putting it in.
you better pull it. You better put it in.
Plug it in. You say, yeah, you play gay roles. It's cool, baby, but you plug your shit in. Come on out. Sorry.
You nailed it. Go ahead.
Okay. You. I have like three questions, and I promise we'll I get to the game
I
and
keep
we'll
going. I'm
go
good.
about your day. But what is it? What is it like? Because you mentioned this earlier, and I remember you and I met on the carpet stirring the creative arts Emmys week at I forget what event, but you were so kind and so wonderful to me.
There's just so many
And
now, aren't there? You're just so wrapped away. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
no, I wish. Hey, look, I wish. I'm old news, girl.
Honey, me too.
But
It's the name of the game.
but one of the things I noticed, what I found striking, and is that you, as you mentioned earlier in the interview, is that you're sober, and I wanted to ask,
California
how different.
sober. California sober. I should be very clear
So
about
you
this.
smoke weed.
I smoke it a weed. I smoke it a weed.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're smoking a weed. But how does that impact? How is that difficult for you in this
Not drinking?
really fast, yeah, in this fast paced world? Is that tough? I'm just walking
Oh
into Hollywood.
God. I have a lot of friends that are sober that like want to beat the heck out of me for saying this, but I like, look, I cannot for the life of me quit smoking cigarettes. I want to so badly. Even weed, I would like to like settle down on. Shut up! See, this computer keeps bleeping at me. I would like to settle down on. So I not to say that I'm really good at dropping things, but some reason, and maybe it was just because where I was at with alcohol, it, releasing that from my life and actually seeing the ramifications of it was the best thing I've ever done for myself ever, ever,
Mhm.
ever, 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 100 billion times over. It is the nicest I've ever been to Charlie. um, and it weirdly, I went to maybe like 5 or 6 meetings, and AA wasn't for me. I had been to a couple meetings prior in the years before, so I'd kind of been, I guess, uh, I'd been, I guess, what was the word that I'm thinking of? I had had conversations with it before in my head. I had been introduced to it, but it wasn't the right thing for me. I Weirdly enough, while I decided to stop drinking, I had just finished working on Russian Doll, and I had drank through most of it. And as you know, my character in it is a bit of, I guess, like a put together alcoholic,
Mhm.
at least like a binge alcoholic. Um,
Mhm. Binge drinker, yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
And a lot of that, I don't know. It was one of those things that while I was working on it, I was like, Natasha, are you stealing shit from my life? What's going on here? But that really, really related to me. And I had a lot of experiences while I was there and working on it that I fell back into those kind of traits or baths or, choices. And I just being surrounded by a almost entire production group of leaders that were sober, I started to talk to people. I started talking about like how it was and what it was and how they did it. Each person had different things that they had cut out,
Mhm.
um, but it really, really helped. And I started applying it back to me. I started to then go work on Tales of the City. And to be fully honest, I had one night where I went to Alan Cummings. This is my last night of drinking. I went to Alan Cummings' karaoke bar and had a freaking amazing time with one of my friends from college and a roommate, Marla Phelan. And walked home. I gave $50 to a homeless couple and my pizza that I bought, and bought a piece of art from them that was legit the next morning, a piece of cardboard with like a printed out picture of Mickey Mouse, like glued on top of it. But my drunk ass was loving it.
It was a Picasso.
It was a Picasso to me. I went home to Williamsburg where I was staying for the time being and got lost and could not. I wandered, and I passed out like on a sidewalk. And it I woke up in the morning and legit, the funniest thing to me too, I was like, this is not even my lowest low. I've been in worse situations than this drinking. So it was like I woke up I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, just in the middle of the street. All right, all
Oh
right.
my god.
I had this luckily it was in like a quiet kind of neighborhood within Williamsburg. God, I can't believe I'm saying this all live, but I'm going. I had this incredibly lovely Jehovah's Witness woman standing over me, and she had the book of what is it? What is the witness? The
The Watchtower? It's the
Watchtower.
Watchtower?
Yes. She was standing over me with the Watchtower, and I remember her just saying, You need Jesus." And I'm a very spiritual person. I respect religions a lot. I also have a lot of issues with religions and the organizations of
Mhm.
religion. And I also am very educated on them. I have Mormon friends, and I have Jehovah Witness friends. I have Baptist friends. I have Catholic friends. You know what I mean? Like and I
Mhm.
sit down and talk to all of them. Scientologist friends. Um, I I took it as a sign from the universe, and I decided that moment that this woman is trying to help me, and I'm so unbelievable thankful for that. And albeit through Jesus, through this church may not be my route, and I told her this in the moment, but I heard the message and I thanked her, and I got my phone and my wallet and I left. And from that moment I
Holy
just
shit.
decided that I had to stop. I went to a couple meetings after that, and I talked to Natasha a lot. Funnily enough, I was working on a project though with Miss unbelievably amazing Laura Linney, and her husband.
Oh
I think I'm
gosh.
able to say this. Her husband suffered from addiction to alcohol and drugs for quite a time, and Laura's father as well. And she has family members outside of that have also suffered from addiction. She hooked me up with him, and he became, for a little bit of time, for like a personal kind of AA, just my person that I could go and talk to.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I got through it. And again, I have an unbelievable support system. My partner was unbelievable. My friends have been amazing. Um, I will say tactfully, for anybody out there who is, look, I respect and love alcohol. I think that there's a lot of good to it. I keep saying that. I respect and love everything. I'm trying to be partial to everything. But I do. I genuinely, I see there's a lot of good to it. But for me, it's not good. I look at it like an ex. We broke up,
Hmm.
and as much as I don't want to hurt that person, I don't want any harm to them. I wish them the best in their world, but we cannot mix. We cannot mix anymore, and we can go to the bar together. But I'm going to hang out with you, and that's just what it is. I will say a tactic though that I use is anytime I'm going out, anytime I have to go to these parties where everybody is drinking, where
Mhm.
that is the environment in Hollywood. It's let loose, baby, let loose. And why not go to alcohol, drugs too, to do it? Um, Marijuana is still a big help for me. If you smoke a little, it just puts you on that nice little balance edge. For some people, it does not work that way, and you
Mhm.
have to know your limits. My other go-to though, if I'm not smoking, if it's a work situation, I'll go get, I'll go get the fruitiest, most stupidest drink. I'll get Shirley Temples. I'll get like a milkshake. I don't give a shit. I'll get something that's just sweet and good and amazing. I'll get, you can make your own fun kind of mocktail, make the one that you like to go to, and get that when you're going to the place, because you have something to sip on, something to hold in your hand. You're not getting bored. Everybody doesn't come up to ask you want to drink, what can I get you,
Right.
all that kind of BS,
Yeah.
which is the hardest part. Is like, I'm fine with being sober. It's like coming out. It's like I hate having to come out 90 times a day. Like I'm fine with coming out, but don't make me do it all the time. I don't have a
Right.
problem with I don't have a problem with not drinking, but don't make me have to explain it all the fucking time. Like that is
Yeah.
annoying.
Right. And especially when you're in a situation, it's like I would imagine when you're walking into a Hollywood party and you don't have a drink in your hand,
Oh, exactly.
people are coming up, hey, can I get you a drink? Can I get you a drink? What do you need? What do you need? And it's like, well, wait, rather than saying, go into your whole spiel of
Yeah.
and having to talk about it again to somebody who probably is really inconsequential to your sobriety
Yeah.
in the first place.
Truthfully, yeah.
Just it might, that it makes complete sense.
I've had
Complete
people
sense.
after parties now that will be like, "Oh, I didn't even know you weren't drunk." You know what I mean? Because they're like, "You were having so much fun, and you had like something in your hand," and like, "Oh, wow, oh." I was like, "Yeah, that's great. That's so great."
Patricia, you had a question.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that, because I think that was really valuable for our listeners to hear. I want to go back to Russian Doll. I know we've talked about it a lot,
Hey,
but
it still pertains. That boy is an alcoholic and a half. Alan needs to figure that
yeah.
shit out.
So I have a couple of questions. One, I'm a huge fan of Natasha Leone's as well, and
Yeah.
I was wondering what it's like to work with her.
Oh, yes. And it's just so good, so good, so good. I don't want to steer you off.
Oh no.
um,
My other one was just like, can you give us any, and without spoilers, any hints or tell us what we're going to expect for Alan in the next season?
oh, okay, okay. Let me break into this one too. Natasha, I can't even, I don't even know where to begin with Natasha. She is, it just to say that she's like amazing and she's fun to work with is so half-assed. It doesn't do any justice to her. Um, she is, I mean, and she really, the job itself changed my life, but meeting that person, having the opportunity to watch them work, watch
Mhm.
them grow and kind of change, it is priceless what I have learned from her. Um, Natasha's a challenge. I want to say, to be completely honest and upfront, and I don't think she would be mad at me for saying it, but she's the best kind of challenge that we all need to have in our lives. You know what I mean? It's like when people tell you, I remember this vividly when I was graduating from high school, and everybody was like, you have to go to New York just to like live it, just experience it, to have that challenge. It will make you stronger. Natasha is the embodiment of that idea. You know what I mean? Like everyone
Oh
should have
wow.
the opportunity to work with her, because she will push you and she will demand a lot, and she expects as much in response. Um and those kind of people are, as much as, a lot of people will push them away, or only see the negative side of what they're doing, or maybe only look at it from one lens. I really believe that those people are necessary to make us all grow. And that being said, she has helped me grow so much. um I really, really love her, but I also, full T. I've never said that in like a true, like, I feel like this is the right
You're
thing
like
to
a
do.
queen, honey.
I'm a queen. Full T. She also
Multi baby.
Full T, babe. She terrifies the socks off of me, yo. She's like a big sister that I'm like the coolest person ever, but like when I'm around her, I'm like, what do I say? I don't hi. I don't know. Um I really like, and a lot of that is from just respect, and also just knowing that, like, she's ferocious, and she could eat
Hmm.
me up and swallow me whole, and I'm not against it. As a creative, yeah, right, as a creative, if I don't know if she would appreciate me saying this, but I'm feeling the open. um she pulled me aside one day and she was like, look, Charlie, I have worked on so many things on my own. I have tried to build up my career. I've seen it fall. I've lost it from drugs, from addiction, what we were talking about. I've lost it from being an idiot. I have pushed shit away. I have been kicked out of stuff. I have, then rebuilt. I have redeveloped my name and my career, and failed and failed and failed on projects that I have wanted to put up from my own voice. And she's like, Russian Doll is my last big chance to like really push it forward. Um, and that kind of vulnerability that she shared with me, that she's like, this has been a lifetime of ups and downs, and I still don't have it figured out. I mean, while we were doing Russian Doll, she, as confident and as amazing as she was as a leader, and I have to say Leslie Headland as well, because the two of them really were the show. Um, the, I'm so thankful that they were so open about their process and the challenges behind it. I learned an artist myself, and as a person that wants to develop my own things, so much from it. Um,
Hmm.
but that being said, like, for anyone listening, from Natasha, you know what I mean? Like, don't expect everything to work out off the first try. And if it doesn't, take that as like not only a challenge, but take that as an opportunity to get better, to grow, and to reinvest in yourself, and reinvest in your own stories and your own, oh God, what what you know the best. and
Yeah.
and that's where she extended from on this project. And even from a basis of like the people who she was working with, myself included, she worked from personal experiences, and that
Yeah.
resonated. She's incredible,
Now,
Patricia. To sum it all up,
I
you
knew
want a
it. I knew
soundbite? Yeah, she's amazing.
no, I think
Yeah,
I think that she's had this career that is enviable, really, for many people, and and then yeah, like you just gave, there was a period of time where Natasha's. I mean, I remember it was at the slums of Beverly Hills, something around
yeah,
that period of time. Like her life was just chaotic,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
and
when I became aware of her.
it,
Yeah.
and you're like, and your heart breaks because, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned she, I think, initially got her start on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
She
which
did.
is
That's
kind of,
why Pee-wee
which is a crazy full circle moment.
all the
right?
way. All the way.
Like it's, as a fan of Paul Rubens and Pee-wee's Playhouse, I was like, wait, there's this whole connection here, and we finally got to it. But
she actually called me. She called me out of the blue. You know, being quintessential Natasha, she's like, "Hey, Charlie, hey, how's it going?" Like, "Hey, Natasha, oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you," bubbly and bullshit. She's just like, "Oh yeah, okay. PeeWee Herman wants to talk to you. He says that you're from Sarasota. You guys are from the same town. You want to talk to him?" I was just like, "Yeah."
You sound just like her. You should, like, do you have any hints for us for the second season of Russian Doll?
Yes.
Anything?
That side of the question, I have nothing to offer, right? And not from, you know, look at me, I'm spilling the tea on everything, so to say.
All right.
It's Natasha's tight-lipped, and the one benefits, you know, we find these small blessings within this coronavirus situation, and I'm not trying to be funny by saying that, but truly we have to. Her small blessing is that she has time. She has time, I think, to redevelop the second season and like refocus, and she's using it. And I'm really kind of thankful that she has it, because I know she really wanted it. But that being said, no, that girl is tight-lipped. She don't share nothing. I had heard through the grapevine, just to throw something in there for you, Patricia, that I don't think that we're going to be returning as the same characters. I think that we're kind of expanding outside of that realm. Now, whether that means like reincarnation in a certain sense, whether that means like time travel, whether that means completely different people, I have no fucking clue. I mean,
cannot wait.
I've written my own season 2 in my head, but you know,
that leads us.
What a great segue.
That leads us right into our game, because if it is reincarnation, we of course have a whole game themed around the reincarnation and all the lives of Shirley MacLaine. So here the game is, we're gonna do some trivia questions. You guys see if you know the answer, and it all goes back to Shirley MacLaine and reincarnation. Okay. This is a stretch. So I got the first one, okay? Here we go. Shirley MacLaine's character Weezer did not die in Steel Magnolias. Because, well, of course, we're basing this all on the fact that you guys die every day in Russian Doll. Like, you die, so that's the whole connection. So, sorry, I'm so excited to get to the game. So, because, you know, in Russian Doll, you die.
Oh,
you come back, you keep coming back. Shirley MacLaine believes in reincarnation. Great, there's the connection. Okay, let's try that again. Here's the game. Woohoo! Okay, so the first question. So it's Shirley MacLaine life and death trivia. Shirley MacLaine's character Weezer did not die in Steel Magnolias. Which actor played the character who did die in this classic film?
Oh, wow.
That is so easy. I'm going to take away your card if you don't get this.
Oh, and my like Southern and my gay card. Jeez. If it's
she goes on.
It's not. It's not
I'll give you a hint. She went on.
A pretty woman was in.
It's Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts says.
Julia Roberts dies. Julia Roberts does die in Steel Magnolias. Patricia, hit him with the second question.
Julia Roberts also starred in Flatliners, where she played a medical student who, with her classmates, experimented with near-death experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Which of her famous co-stars is also famous for being the center of Hollywood in that he can be linked to all other actors through his films?
I'm guessing Kevin Bacon.
You nailed it.
Ding, 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 ding.
Boom.
That is correct.
Yo, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, gays, for the Julia Robert effect.
Okay, yeah. So Kevin Bacon as Jack Swigart survives a near disaster in this movie based on a true story, only to die off screen of cancer years later, as told to the audience by a Tom Hanks voiceover.
Oh.
That is so tense.
What is the movie?
Oh,
what is the film?
It can't be Footloose. It can't be.
Set in space.
Set in space. God, what is he? A spaceman? Apollo 11.
Oh, so
13. We'll take it. We'll take
Oh,
it. You're correct.
13.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh
Okay.
man.
I
Apollo
just
11.
this one because this one is probably not on the tip of your tongue. So, Tom Hanks of Apollo 13 thinks he's dying in this 1990 comedy co-starring Meg Ryan. Because he's already dying, he agrees to sacrifice his life in the South Pacific. Name the movie?
What? He
This is so hard.
sacrifices his life in the South Pacific. Oh, Captain Phillips then? I've never saw it.
Better romantic comedy.
It can't be Castaway.
No, it's Joe versus the volcano.
Oh, what the hell?
Okay.
One of his probably most enduring films.
I was
I
gonna
know,
go
this
to
is
Big
tough.
after it. I was like, what?
Charlie, this is tough. Okay, here's the next one. Joe versus the volcano was our last answer. So, speaking of Joes, this actor, whose name is Joe, has killed many people in roles from Goodfellas to The Irishman. Who's the actor?
Joe Pesci.
Correct.
Easy.
Bing, 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 bing. Patricia, get the.
Okay.
We're almost done. We're almost done.
We're so close. Joe Pesci's notable co-star in these films, Robert De Niro, played a man who probably wanted to die when he met his daughter's in-laws in Meet the Fockers. Who played his daughter's mother in the movie, Mrs. Focker?
Oh, my love, my one and only Miss Blythe Danner, baby.
Oh,
No! Am I wrong? Oh wait, are we talking about wait, no. His mother, let me say it before you say it. His mother, my love, my other one.
No, you're actually right. The question: who played the daughter's mother-in-law?
Oh, Bette Midler.
Oh, did I say it wrong?
Yeah, you did, but it's also not Bette Midler. Your gay card is really
revoked.
It is
Take it
in
away.
Serious danger. It is serious danger.
I'm sorry. Wait though,
he got the right. Blythe Danner does play the mother.
Yes. So the mother
of the daughter. The mother-in-law is not Bette Midler, but she's a person who needs people. Because they're the luckiest people in the world.
Barbara Streisand. Damn it.
It is Streisand, yes.
Damn
which
it.
goes to our last question, which we're going to connect it all together. Like reincarnation, here we go. At the 1984 Golden Globes, Streisand won 2 Golden Globes for Yentl. Who won Best Actress for her role as the mother of a dying woman in Terms of Endearment?
Terms of I haven't seen.
The answer is Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, shit. It all goes back around to Philly, doesn't it?
See, it goes back just like Russian doll. It all goes back to the beginning.
We were happy. We were proud of ourselves for that one.
Well spun, y'all. It's well dead.
No, Charlie,
I have to apologize to all the gay. I guess gay.
Elite,
what do we call
gay elite.
The gay elite for fuck it. No, I don't apologize. I love all those women.
Don't apologize.
I have to say,
I was watching
now, before First Wives Club. I was watching recently, so that's why I think I'm thinking about Bette Midler so much. Maybe why?
Why would you see that? See, that's what you get your card back. You should be thinking about.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview with us and just laughing and having so much fun with us and sharing your story. There's so many other things I wanted to ask, and maybe hopefully another time we'll get a chance to sit down and pick up where we left off because you're
I talk too much.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
No, you don't. I thank you for your willingness to open and to talk and to share, because that's really what makes us so wonderful to do these podcasts.
Yeah.
Before we go, Charlie, we always end our podcast with good vibes.
Nice.
And especially right now in these times, is there something you can send out to our listeners that would, something that maybe you're finding comfort in right now during this really uncertain time, or something that, that you rely on, or even a show that you're binging, anything. It can be anything that makes you feel good right now.
I had a really interesting experience in the grocery store, as we all have been having recently. It's kind of double fold on a negative and a positive. I was walking around and standing in line after searching, and there was an older gentleman and his friend talking behind me and just having a really funny conversation about Texas and what's going down in the South and how different it is from California at this moment. And one of the men chimed in to say, well, you know why this is all happening. It's because of the gays. It's because men sleeping with men and women sleeping with women. To which, like, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I was like, hold up, this guy is really blaming this entire pandemic on that, and does he genuinely believe that? I let it go. I just figured, this isn't the time, this isn't the place. It was surrounded by a shit ton of people, and I felt so kind of childish and afraid for not saying something and not going up to him. And almost like not maybe 5 minutes later, this little girl comes up to him and she's like, you're wrong about that. and he was like, what? And she's like, you're just wrong about your beliefs. And she walks away. And it was so well said and so like, people didn't even invest in the fight. It was just beautiful and it made me really happy in a weird way. Aside from that too, 2 seconds later, I was walking out and, there's like a shortage on carts at every grocery store now just because I don't understand why, but I guess they're locking them all up. This woman saw the woman who actually had that little girl, saw a woman struggling to hold her baby and some groceries and couldn't, manage. She was trying to pick up some like juice or something as well, and obviously couldn't hold all the things at once. And this woman took the little girl out and rolled the cart right over to her and was like, here, you need this more than I do, and went on to like shopping. And I was like, damn, man, that family, I want to know who they are first and foremost. But secondly, like, just those little things right now are so important and go so far to just like, it is like a trickle down effect or even like a butterfly effect. I mean, I guess they're kind of the same in a certain sense. You just passing a card off to somebody in need, you telling someone that your beliefs, not fighting them, not pushing them, not creating a war, but just letting them know that you know what I'm talking about and what you think is wrong. And that's all I have to say. It is just those little things to me right now are it's really important. They're really important. I think they can make a really large change. They can affect a large change in a I guess in individual way.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're all going through the same exact experience. This is not unique to one person in the world. We're all experiencing this. So the small things. This is what I think. That's what I've learned from all of this. Is the small things really do matter, and that it's broad strokes are great, but the small things really are. It's really where our heart is, and any small gesture would mean the world to anybody right
Look,
now.
It ain't gonna pay rent and stuff. The big things need to be handled too, but those
you're right.
Yeah, can affect.
Well, Charlie Barnett, before you go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media so they can shower you with love and follow you.
Look, I'll put out a statement of apology first because I'm terrible at social media. I'm just as afraid of it as I am afraid of Natasha. I respect it and I'm terrified. But you can go to my page and you can send me stuff, and I swear to God, a month after I'll probably write back and get into you. It's _ Charlie Barnett, and I do have a Facebook, but I haven't been on that in generations. I have a Twitter. I believe it's _ Charlie Barnett too. I'm so bad. I'm so damn bad. You know what you need to do if you want to see me? Come see my work. Go onto Netflix and look at my work.
Yes.
Or like
don't worry, we'll post the appropriate handles. You don't have to worry about them.
I'm so bad.
You will follow.
Dude,
just go to our episode notes and follow my friend Charlie Barnett, who's so brilliant.
I don't know Julia Roberts. I don't know my social media handles. What is wrong with me?
Charlie, thank you so much for this episode. I can't wait to see you very soon when this is all said and done and celebrate with you in a big way. I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Patricia, as well.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, follow Charlie Barnett if you can on social media. This is DragCast with Nina West.